Hello, my name is Harry. Well, perhaps if you have watched my videos here in the channel of the YouTube, you have seen it before, so you know what I'm going to do by now. As you can see, my hair has been growing quite along, and my beard has been also growing quite along, so I'm going to cut them right now. Like I've done not a dozen times before, not 100 times or million times before, maybe 5 or 6 times or 7 or 8 times before. But however, this is what I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to do it once again like I've done it before. So if you're boring about watching my videos by how this stupid idiot will cut his hair and cut his beard, so shaving his beard, so you might skip the channel and going for somewhere else. But if you for some reason do like to watch it, then you may stay on your computer or mobile phone or wherever you're watching it from your screen. Well, anyway, I'm going to cut my hair and I'm going to shave my beard. But once again, like I always said before, if you're going to do the very same thing, remember to use scissors that has a blunt edge, because if you have a scissors that containing a sharp edge, sharp end scissors, you might accidentally uh, accidentally hurt yourself if you accidentally pushing it in you. Let's say, for example, if you cut it on your eyes, then you might lost the capability of seeing things. So I don't want you to do that. So make sure about, if you're going to cut your hair, use a scissors that has a blunt end. Blunt end, blunt edge, whatever you call about it, blunt. Use blunties, and maybe you won't harm yourself no more than I'm going to do. So use the blunt and scissors. Another things about, now that I'm wearing my shorts, you might see, possibly if you can see through the camera lenses, that I had a little bit different legs, different color of the legs. You can see they getting, what kind of color is this? Anyway, a different than it's usually supposed to be. This means I have something wrong in my blood circulations, so I'm not really know how serious this is, how bad, how much this is going to do damage to me. Maybe I'm going to drop dead. I definitely going to drop dead someday, but hopefully not yet. Maybe 100 years or something like that, 200 years maybe. But anyway, sometimes I'm going to drop dead, not necessarily for this reason, that I have a blood circulation problems a little bit on my legs. Luckily, it's not anywhere else, like you can see my arms, not here, no problem, but only in the legs. Well, maybe I can find a medicine for that, but never mind about that. That's not your problem. That is more likely my problem. And now I'm start doing what I was planning to do for it, cutting my hair first and then shaving my beard. Okay, that's enough. Cut the crap, you might say. Uh, so I'm tended to be here as long as possible, but first, about haircut. That's reminding my mind about, when you're thinking about when you're going to drop dead or when I'm going to drop dead. It's the matter which we don't know, because we don't have that crystal ball that we can see the future. If we only had that kind of the crystal ball that tells you what will coming tomorrow or next week or whatsoever, I would go there and looking for a right lottery numbers, and then I win the jackpot. But unfortunately, I don't have that kind of the crystal ball, so I just have to say it like used to said, or used to singing late great uh, late great British musician whose name I don't want it to say on the loud voice because I do not advertise anything or anybody who doesn't pay me any money for it. So I'm not mentioning his name, but he did write a song. It was released on whenever it was 50 years ago, 40 years, no, not 40 years or not 20 years. 50 years ago, oh sorry, 60 years. I lost the numbers. I lost the sense of the numbers, but it was 60 years ago in the year of 1966, and he was singing the song, he was writing the song, singing the song called Tomorrow Never Knows. It was released on the LP in August 1966, and of course I do not want it to say the name of the LP or name of the popular Fab Four group, but when I mentioned the group was Fab Four and they were coming from Liverpool, then you possibly know who do I meant. And they have got this song Tomorrow Never Knows in the, was it, wait for a moment, fifth or sixth LP. I guess it was the fifth. First two LPs came 1963, then 1964 came another two LPs, and 1965 came another two LPs, and then in 1966 they only made one. Uh, it was seventh. Oh yeah, mathematical is not my very strong point. I'm lousy with mathematics, so I just calculated a little bit different, little bit wrongly way. Uh, it was seventh LP they made in 1966, and it was released in August 1966. And the last song on this LP was the one Tomorrow Never Knows. And you know, it is really the way like that. You can't see tomorrow, so I don't also won't be able to see tomorrow. So I don't know when I'm going to drop dead, but it's definitely going to be someday in the future. I won't be able to die on a past time because the past time has gone and I won't be able to reach it. If I'll be able to go in time, traveling time on the past, I would go to see many things happen in 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 1960s and 1970s, like the great tour for the another British rock and roll group. They made it in 1969, one of their best American tours, and the next year, 1970, one of their best European tours. And they also made a great tour on America in 1981 and in Europe in 1982. But I don't want to say their name on a loud voice either because I do not advertise them because they do not pay me not anything. They won't pay me not for a single pound, not for a single dollar, not for a single whatever there is the money. Chinese got their yen, Russians have their rubles, and here in Europe we do have euros. And Japanese got, I can't even remember what kind of currency Japanese got, but they won't pay me anything, not even a burned wooden penny, not anything. So I do not say their name, but they did have a great tour in America in 1969 and 1981, and in Europe in 1970 and in 1982. But they did not sing about this song about Tomorrow Never Knows. But they did have another kind of the great songs, which I don't want it to reminding you because I do not figure it out anything else more interesting to talk about it at the moment. I am not a real great sports fan, so I do not speaking to you. I'm not going to speaking to you about the matter of the connected somehow with sport events. But I know something about British rock and roll and British popular music about 1960s and 1970s, and that's what I like to listen. But since since at this moment I can't figure it out anything else to talk about, so I'm not going to speaking you and lecturing you any other matter. But however, I'd like to talk to you something. I like to speak to you something because if I remain the silence, you might see a pretty much uh, boring to watching this guy cutting his hair. So what will I speak to you the next? Okay, television programs. Can you remember television programs? Well, I can't say it anything because if I say so, I will be advertising them. So I just have to remember by now that television programs that has long gone and stopped producing, stopped making it. One of them was, can you remember, On the Buses? That was something I did watch when I was a little kid in early 1970s. It started to filming in it started to making the film started filming in 1969 if I remember it right, and it continues early 70s, maybe 1970, I guess 1973 or some of those years, and then it was stopped completely stopped completely on a daily basis. They didn't make it anymore. After a few years break, it was completely stopped. Another one I did like was in the early 70s was the one which called it The Persuades. They made it 24 episodes, and it was only made it in 1970 and 1971. I did like the car that those main role actors did use in those TV series. But I don't want to say the name of these cars because if I do so, I will advertise them. But if you know TV series called The Persuades, which has stopped after 1971 and it's not on the production anymore, so you know what I matter in fact meaning by now. Then another car I did like was a American TV series called Toma. It was made in 1973 and 1974. Maybe the pilot movie was already filmed in 1972 because it was broadcasted first time, if I remember it right, early 1973, so it was very likely to made in 1972. But the TV series itself came out in 73 and 74. That guy who was in the main role, I just hair just floppy hair just coming to my mouth. Uh, that guy did have American-made car, which I also liked. It was made in 1969, but I don't want to say the name because I do not want to advertise that car company. But that was the most beautiful. TV series was called Toma, and it's not going to make any more. They made it only 24 episodes and the pilot movie in 72 and 74. And after that, that the whole matter of the TV series was continued with another name and another actors. That was not so good anymore. By the way, this TV series it was based on the true fact there was in New Jersey a real police officer called David Toma. I guess he's still living today when we're making this video. Today is 28th, June, not August, June. 28th June, it's Sunday, 28th June. in the year of 2026, and I guess he's still living here by today. Anyway, I haven't heard any news or any information that he had been passed away. So I strictly assume that he's still alive. Okay, what else I'm going to speak to you? Hair started to be like 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 little bit of the okay. I'm just going to make a slightly just short tops here. Well, I guess it started to look like. I guess it started to look like okay. Okay, the next goes my beard. First, first with scissors, and then I'm going to go with the razors. But first, because this is so thick, so I'm going to cut it with scissors. There's so much of this. That first in the scissors and then these razors. Uh, Matter of fact, this is more than, I guess this is more than 2 years since I last cut my hair and shaved my beard. So this is how long they're going to grow into in the time period of the 2 months, 2 years. 2 years time period or even more. I can't remember when I cut it first. Maybe you have to watch my other videos. It's there on the YouTube channel, but I can't remember it right now at this moment. But it's there also previous haircut and previous beard shape operations. They will be there. Or everything I done since we started to making these videos. But for the last time, I can't remember, but I'll guess it's 2 years time, something like that, or even a little bit more. Ah, oh. What will I speak to you the next? Okay, the weather. Now we don't have a heat wave yet. We have something about nearly a heat wave, but not exactly that high figure yet. But there's a little bit cloudy. It makes a little bit cooler because the sun won't burning like straight from top of the sky. But however, it's not a freezing weather yet, but it's going to be after a few months and a few weeks and a few days, not few days, but it's going to be a freezing weather at least when this year is going to be at at like now I have to be careful. I will cut my nose with these scissors. When this year is going to be nearby the end, when this year is going to be on the final course of the going away and changing, replacing the another year, and then we have to get a little bit more outfit because then it will be a cold, freezing weather. But right now it's almost heat wave, but not yet heat wave. But it's warm. Don't have to feel cold, don't have to be shivering, don't have to be whatever you can call about it, but don't have to be like uh, damn it, allergic reactions. Always when I'm speaking a little bit more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatsoever, I guess we had going on by now 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but always when I'm speaking more than just a short brief, I've got my throat like it's like a sandpaper, going to be dry, and then it's going to get uh, very difficult situation. I can't explain it, especially with different language, but after speaking of the short time, I have troubles with my throat, and that's a matter of the allergic reactions. And I guess I guess I might just going on to the leave the scissors. It's on the condition that I can go to the razors. I leave the scissors and I go to the razors here, right? And then I've got, let's take the cover off. Then I've got soap here, which I'm going to make a soap form to me, you know, soap form. Lovely green color, and just going to have a little bit foam, and the rest, like people used to say, the rest is history, and the rest is just ordinary things to do. So this is not much for watching for. So we might have a little problem with the camera system, so maybe you won't be able to see the complete beard shape, but never mind, I've done it before and you don't have to care about it. And I just see how much I can do before we coming end of this recording. A little bit there and a little bit more. Uh, yeah, did I mention the date to be making this video? Oh yes, I did mention, yeah, Sunday 28 June 2026. That's today, Sunday 28 June 2026. Yeah, yeah, it's there. Soap is there all over my face. Okay, and next is the razor. Then, like I've done it before. Uh, this is a bit difficult to speaking and saving on the same time because I have to watch where do I put my razor. I guess this is going to go like it used to goes like the way it has to be going and what it's meant to be going, and the way like it should have to be going, whatever you wanted to call about it, but this is the way I'm going to do it. Okay, and uh, tell me something about subject I can speak to you in the very same time. I've already spoken to you about the rock and roll groups and the TV series, and what next? The art of the, well, the art of the statues. Well, I don't know anything about the statues or things like that, so I'm not going to speak to you about that. The, the art about the books, well, I don't know much about that either, so I do read books, yes, sometimes. And when I was a younger lad, and I did have more patiently, I did read a lot more books than I do usually. But I do like books, and I realize that they can containing a very much information. It depending what kind of the books you're reading. But however, I'm not an expert to tell you about this book and that book. Well, I did read about the books that's covering to one of the most rock and roll bands, but that's the subject of the rock and roll band. But I did read the bass player of that group has been written that book, and I did read that almost completely at the end. Now I'm there only little bit, just little bit left. I've almost read it completely through, but there's just a little bit still going on to reading forward. But I'm not going to speak to you about that because that's a very, uh, that's a kind of the matter which I need a lot of time to speak about it if I'm going to go to the special reasons he's been written in his book, and I guess we don't have a time to recording so much, so I just mentioned to you that I did read that book, and when I was the younger lad, I did read books a lot more than I do usually. Now, when I'm just an old geezer, and I can't even remember what kind of the books I did read when I was a teenager or early adult, whatever you call about it. But when I was a young lad, I did read a lot more books than usually. Now I just don't have a patience me, and I don't have. I'm a lazy to reading books by now, but mm, I'm a lazy to reading books by now. So so I'm not really the kind of the right person to tell you about read this and read that. That's a good book, and that's a lousy book, and I'm not going to put them in any kind of a ranking order. That if you start reading books, take this one and take that one and leave that one off, because I'm not an expert of the reading books. I'm not critical, and I'm not going to say anything against any writer or anything for any writer. So I'm not going to say whether they are good or bad or lousy or great or marvelous or whatever you call about it. But I just say that I